Small town. Damn, that's you strictly.
Ladies and gentlemen, in 1978, Jane Kennedy replaced Phyllis George on CBS's NFL Today, becoming the first black woman to host a network sports telecast. I'm your co host, Small Town EP, joined by your host, Wade Julian, and we are back to give you the real in sports on the first episode of Black History Month. You are now tuned into your number one sports talk show. I don't know what else to say. You know where we're at. Brought to you by Small Town Productions. Ticker up top. Brought to you by ESPN Bet. Very accurate in real time. June, how you doing, man? Lot has been transpiring in the last 48 hours. How you doing though?
I'm doing good, man. It was a good weekend, and it was a great weekend for the sports world. So for some, there are some in mourning, and there are some rejoicing, even as we are 2 days removed from this trade now. So um, I do want to shout out to Jane Kennedy, like you said. You mentioned her in becoming, the first black woman on CBS to do a sports telecast. I mean, that's a phenomenal feat, and so I think we just wanted to bring some awareness to Black History Month, and um, be proud of it, and show love to those that came before us. And honestly, we're gonna do a fact about Black history for every episode during this month. I don't be the deepest thinker, you know what I'm saying? So I don't have the here. Listen, it was an idea that I thought would be cool and creative and a fun way to show support, and love to the culture. So that's all, man. I'm doing well. The weather is warmed up. It's like 40 something degrees outside. The snow was on the ground last night. It's melted since, and we ain't had to put the ski mask on to work today. So
Yeah, hey, I'd be remiss to not say to not just mention because you did send me all these kind of accolades. Jane Kennedy, American television personality, actress, model, corporate spokeswoman, producer, writer, public speaker, philanthropist,
yeah,
and sports broadcaster.
yeah.
And make sure I put respect to the name. Now,
Miss Ohio as well.
damn, Misso, come on, man,
Shout
come
out to
on,
those.
man.
Shout out to those in Ohio.
All right, we'll get to northeast Ohio in a little bit, but you know what? We got to kick it off with the NBA. June, what if I told you that one sign on the dotted line would cost a man 116 million dollars? Another one of those just monumental "where were you" moments when this happened. I'll let you tell where you were first in a second. But Luka Doncic, a Los Angeles Laker, joining the likes of LeBron
Wow.
James, Anthony Davis to Dallas, joining Kyrie Irving. Whew. What does this trade say, June, about the locker room culture in Dallas?
That's a good question. It's not one I've thought much about, and I don't know the answer to that. But I think this trade says more, in my opinion, about the front office and the GM specifically, and what he is about and what he's made of. Um, I Let's be very clear. This is crazy, right? This is something like no other, really. When you got the first time in NBA history that two reigning All NBA players are traded for each other. I mean, this is right up under there with KD going to Golden State and Kawhi getting traded to Toronto. Those were like two moments that I'll never forget where I was. And, being home, I was home on Saturday night for this one. So I was overwhelmed because I was trying to. My father and my brother-in-law are Lakers fans. So they'd sleep. I'm trying to call them. I'm like, no, we got to talk about this. Like, somebody needs to talk to me about this. They eventually, or my brother-in-law eventually woke up and called me, and we had a little conversation about it late Saturday night. And then he started texting me an hour later, like through all these trade scenarios, like, what about this? What about this? I mean, now I'm just up. And so I want to say, back to your question, I don't know what that means for the locker room and where they were, because if you asked me just a couple of days ago, I thought everything was fine in Dallas. I thought they were waiting for Luka Doncic to come back. I know he's battled injury, throughout the season, throughout his career, but throughout this season specifically, he's battled some injury, and so I don't know, but trying to understand where the general manager was coming from with this trade, for me, it was like, I mean, bro, you just traded the franchise. You know what I'm saying? So there's
Nah,
no
for real.
justification for real, unless they win a championship this year or next year. That would be the only justification I see fit for why you would trade Luka Doncic, right? And so, even still, as an owner, that's just bad business. But the GM, to me, he doesn't have the guts, in my opinion. And I think he
Mm.
also doesn't have the vision. So Luka Doncic came into our league, if we remember, I think it was a 2018 draft. There was a trade with Atlanta where they give Dallas the pick and get them, Trae Young and Luka get traded for each other, and that was its own thing. And Luka becomes this franchise pillar for a franchise that was known for having one superstar who happened to be European as well and was a Hall of Famer. This felt like the same type of trajectory that Luka was going to be on for this franchise. And it should have been.
Yeah,
It
coming of
should have
age.
been. Now, we spoke about this, I think, last week. I don't know if it was the week before or last week, but I was telling y'all the word fire, like they fire coach, fire GM, cut, like cut is different, but fire, when you have a head coach or a GM and you want to establish culture, you want to establish leadership. For me, it's like, how can you do so in 5 years? Now, how can you, okay, let me rephrase, because you can establish culture in within a 5 year period,
A
right?
thousand percent.
Winning culture as well. But like when you actually get to the winning, because Pat Riley got to Miami, in the 90s, and they didn't win a championship until 2006. And he was still a genius. And then we went on to win two more, 4 years after. What I'm saying is that took time. The Miami Heat were not, a brand new team in this league. We finally got our feet under us. Then we found someone who can implement what we needed for the franchise. And did Mickey Arison say, listen, Pat, we're going to give you about 6, 7 years most here. All right. You got to figure this out. No, no, listen, Pat, we're going to try to do as much as we can every day, every year until we figure this out. Uh, while you're doing your best for us, we'll do our best for y'all. And that's what this exchange should have been. Now, Harrison has been a GM. Nick Harrison, is it? Has been a
Nico,
GM.
yeah.
Nico since 2021 for Dallas, and so this isn't his draft pick. And this always, football reminds me of like the franchise player in basketball because the quarterback is like when you go to manage a team, you want to have your guy that you believe in with your full conviction that this is the guy for the team. And so clearly Nico didn't feel Luka was that guy for him, right? And he made a brash decision, which can really, really come back to haunt him in the franchise for years to come. And it might even haunt him sooner than later, where he might see himself out of a job before he thinks. I know I've said a lot, and I want to let you get your thoughts off. You asked me one question, I answered that, and I also gave my thoughts on everything here. And just to kind of come around with it, it's like the craziest thing he said was, within he said this move is makes us win now, and for our future. And for us, our future, for me, our future is the next 3-4 years, not 10 years. And so for your general manager to say that, all right, now what do you mean by that? Right? You do the Drewski. What do you mean by that? He says then by 10 years from now, you guys will probably bury Kid and I, referring to Jay Kidd, coach. Now, first of all, I
Who
don't know why
didn't
you
know?
talking about Jay. Why you talking about Jay Kidd like that, bro? He's had this job for a little minute now, and he probably planned on keeping it. So you ain't come here when he got here. You ain't hire him. So don't try to make the decision to get lost with him, right? But also, why do you feel like they're going to bury you within 10 years now? Are you saying that this is not going to work in the long term? Are you saying that this wasn't in the best interest of your franchise in the long term? Like, are you shooting yourself in the foot when you say that? And if not, where does the lack of confidence come from that you would insinuate that your fans would ride you out of town, run you out of town before 10 years? I mean, why wouldn't you expect to be the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks for years to come? Why are you making a move that says, "Hey, I need to win because I'm going to get fired if we don't win"? Because Luka Doncic is too good of a player and we pay him too much money for us not to be winning championships. So I need to do something for this city within the next 2 years to win this championship. And I think this is the decision. Mind you, I'm not going to run it by coach. I'm going to make the decision because we have an understanding. Now, me and my wife, you know what? I ain't even married. I ain't even got a girl. EP, let me ask you a question before you give your thoughts. Uh, you have a fiance, right? You got a beautiful
Yeah.
fiance. You guys got the date, bro. I got the magnet on the fridge. Shout out to my boy
Thank
EP,
you.
man.
Thank you.
Shout out to the Benzo. Shout out to Justin and SK. You know what I'm saying? Both of y'all getting married this year by the end of the year, back to back months. It's gonna be crazy. That's neither here nor there. But let me ask you a question. I think your fiance and you and yourself have a lot of trust in one another, right? To make even adult decisions and responsible decisions, right? Sometimes you guys don't got to text each other or make a phone call for every little thing, right? You grown, you've been there. She know what she's doing. You trust her. That's why you guys respect each other and trust each other and are together. But like when y'all about to sell the crib, I and it's in both of y'all name, I think you was gonna run it by her like, yo, I'm finna sell the crib.
No, 1,000%. We just bought a whip. We just bought a whip. So we just invested,
Come
a
on,
couple
man.
tens of thousands of dollars into a vehicle, and we definitely ran a
I,
lot of things by each other as far as that was concerned.
yeah, you don't just go off doing shit. You don't just go off doing, and that's what kind of has rubbed me the wrong way about this trade because to an extent I can see, this benefit, like the not benefiting, but I can see the Mavericks winning this year, like winning a lot of games and doing good in the playoffs. And we'll talk about roster construction going forward and all that. They still need another move, in my opinion. They're not finished here, but I tried to like even think of a way to defend it, and I've led back to wait. LA has Luka Doncic, and he's 25 years old, and Jesus, what did they do? What are you? Where are you at with this trade? Where were you, and where are you now?
All right. So similar to you, I was home, right? But on the opposite end, I was asleep. I'm not gonna lie. I went to sleep early Saturday night, and I woke up probably, the mid, the min, the in the middle of the sleep wake up. I woke up, I looked at my phone, scrolled through a couple things, and I was like, went to the group chat that we're in. I was like, what? It kind of annoyed me because, like you were saying, like you can't just be doing shit to do shit. I was like, this kid, this. I was like, either one, this is the craziest that's ever happened, or two, this isn't real, and someone just got sent told NBA sent told,
Right.
So I ain't gonna hold you. I went back to sleep. I said, you know what? I don't even have the band.
Wow.
I don't even have the bandwidth right now
Wow.
to even. So I went back to sleep. When I woke up in the mornings, when I was like, oh, this is wild. I I don't even know where to begin because again, like I was saying when we opened the show, this is one of those where were you moments, like a monumental trade in the NBA. NBA report, ESPN reporter Tim McMahon was reporting earlier today about how the Dallas front office was growing increasingly frustrated with Luka's conditioning,
Right.
and obviously in part the injuries that were coming due to that as well, and the fact that he was close to like 265 at one point earlier this
Yeah.
year, and that's around the time that they shut him down for the wrist injury. Similar to how they did Jason Kidd when he got to Dallas and they shut him down because he was a bit over the weight limit, as they say. I I think it's a harsh reality. I mean, we had we're seeing the videos of Kevin Durant and the Suns bench looking at this in the middle of a game. First off, I want to know whose phone
That's
that
another
was.
thing. That's another
First
thing we'll
off,
talk about later. No, no,
whose
no. Let's talk
phone
about it
was
later because that's some bullshit. I'm not gonna lie.
that?
But go ahead.
And everyone just kind of wondering what the fuck is going on. I kind of, in a way, I kind of feel for Luca, because damn, like you were expecting more than likely to spend your entire career in this, in the city of Dallas. Reports were saying he just bought a $15 million house on the outskirts of Dallas. Closed on it a couple weeks ago, and then he got shipped away, this weekend.
Yeah. I,
Um,
I'll say this. I tweeted this earlier. I don't feel bad for millionaires and rich problems. Now, personal, ethical, those type of issues. Of course, I have empathy with all that. You just bought a $15 million house. You could buy another one. I do not feel bad for you, brother. And it sucks. I'm not gonna act like it don't suck. I'm not gonna say, oh, he's not human. Oh, there's probably it hit rock. You know what I'm saying? It hit home. He wanted to
yeah.
be here for his career, I'm sure. And it wasn't up to him to make that decision, which he probably feels very much uprooted. And it's like an eviction. You know what I'm saying? Where you have no power over like. Not to be funny, I'm not being funny, but like you have no control over the situation. I mean, I guess you did at one point, but in this case, he had no control and nobody knew. And it was crazy because we hear that their GM is like, it started over like a coffee, 3-4 weeks ago, and it was like, would you do this? You wouldn't do that, right? Yeah, I would. No, hold on. So
we,
that's
we need a not a 30 for 30, but like a reenactment, like the draft day
yeah,
movie. You know what I mean?
yeah. I
Like
need I
how
need a what was this situation
yeah,
for?
how did this happen? Now, I can't remember the last time that there was a team who had a all-star player who was going to be eligible for a supermax contract, ship him out the season before, the months before he was going to be eligible. Typically, you see teams are ready. They're waiting to give away
Yeah,
this supermax contract.
yeah,
Um, and those reports from Tim McMahon I was talking to you about were kind of what led me to ask you about the culture in the locker room in Dallas. I mean, I don't think that this was just speculating, crazy speculations, right? I think there was something deeper to this, and along with them growing frustrated with his lack of conditioning thereof, and the continuous injuries, I think there was something deeper in that locker room. Total speculation. I can't verify this by any means necessary, but I do think that there was something deeper. I do think that Dallas won this trade, right? I mean,
Dallas.
I do think that Dallas won this trade. I think that the Lakers got worse. You shipped off AD. Like, well,
Well,
I'm an
so there's a few ways to look at this, and again,
Now,
it
I'm
goes
not saying
into.
that this is like you were saying, sorry to interrupt you, but like you were saying, like
Mhm.
they're in a win now moment, as the GM was saying. I don't think this is a win now move. They're definitely missing another player, and I'm gonna wink at you because I think that. Uh, but
Eh,
we'll get to that. We'll get to
eh,
that in a second.
I don't
They
know.
definitely need another piece. But I do think that Dallas won this trade. I do think that Dallas got significantly better with this trade.
So, okay, to say Dallas didn't get better would be false. I do think they got better. Anthony Davis is an All NBA, All Pro talent, who's a 28-10 guy, right? Playing like the MVP at moments this year. He had a lot of good moments this year so far. He stayed healthy. Last year, he played over 70 games. He's planning to do that this year. I don't know if he's still on track for that, but at least 60. And so my whole thing was that, yeah, like if they go on to get one more piece or whatever and figure their way to the finals again and win, or even get back to the getting back, you can say that you can argue they could have gotten back without the trade, but would be hard. They need to win a championship to justify this trade is the
Oh yeah,
problem.
this is a fireable offense if it doesn't
So
work out.
yeah,
This is a
yeah,
fireable
and
offense.
so did they get better? Yeah, I mean they lost. Now let's realize the magnitude. By the way, it's unfortunate, for some Lakers fans who really love this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he did a lot for the franchise, brought them a ring, but I'm sure they're very grateful for what he gave them in return, which was in turn a championship and Luka Doncic. But what I'm saying is like, yo, Luka Doncic going forward, you got 10 to 15 years of Luka Doncic. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's a win.
He's
To me,
25
that's
years
a win.
old. Yeah, man.
There's no way I'm gonna be able to say, you know what, Dallas did win this. Because guess what? Even at the end of the day, the only way you could say that is if they win a championship this year. If they don't, it's still like, haha, jokes on you, and you still don't got Luca. And every year you guys don't win a championship, you guys are not, you're gonna be a year older, and you're also not gonna have the franchise player you once had. Now, to the point of the weight and the conditioning. By the way, shout out to everybody in the chat.
Facts.
J1, Ray, Cardi, Brill in there, everybody in there, man. Um, I think the Dallas Mavericks should be held responsible for his conditioning. Now,
Mm.
he is a grown man, right? He has to do his part. Michael Finley taking that beer out of his hands obviously didn't sit too right with anyone, but it shouldn't have to be that. But at the same time, there should be some accountability from your end and your conditioning staff and coaching staff in the weight room to make sure that he maintains a certain level of body fat or a weight that you guys are comfortable with. Now, if you're telling me the only time he comes back out of shape is when it's all-star break and off season, like, all right, I guess I can't really defend him. But he's gaining weight through the season. He's gaining weight while he's in rehab. This is shit y'all need to be on top of. This is your franchise player, and I don't know that you guys are treating it at that magnitude, And so, it do I think Luka Doncic plays good defense? Not at all. Do I think a reason why they got swept last year in the finals? Am I wrong? Did they get swept or did they win one game?
Gentlemen sweep. Gentlemen sweep.
Gentlemen's sweat. The reason why they got one game only, Luka's defense was getting picked on all series, and it's easy. So I'm like, y'all think that he's never gonna get better? You know what I'm saying? You don't think he's ever gonna try to fix that? And I could be wrong and say, yeah, he is. And truth be told, he's gonna cry to the refs every year till he grows up, and he's gonna be a fat, out of weight slob with a B, not a V. And so,
Ha ha
as,
ha.
but like, no, I truly believe that Luka Doncic, under the right accountability, can be as good as you think he can be. You know what I'm saying? And better. He's shown us that. So this was definitely something that I'm sure caught LeBron off guard. And
You think he knew?
no, no, no.
Even with
Hearing,
him and
hearing.
AD
Well,
having the
you know
same
what? You know what?
representation.
You know what? You know what? Yeah, you're right. I'd be a fool to say LeBron had no wind or didn't know. You know what I mean?
But at the same
And
time, how
I
loyal is he to AD? Like, I feel like he might have voiced that if they're gonna just ship.
no, 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 bro. This is Luka Doncic, fam. Like that's what we're missing, and that's why this is so crazy. That's why on Saturday night and on Sunday morning when you woke up for real, it was the Andrew Luck retirement tweet. It was 1 plus 1 equals 2. Yo, 1 plus 1 equals 2, right? That's what I learned all my life, right? 1 plus 1 equals 2, because that's what it says, but I don't know why I say it right now. Like, it's that crazy. And so the loyalty is there. AD not gonna win LeBron no championship this year. And one more move, say they would have got Trey Young. I would put the Lakers in the top contention for, you know what? Trey Young is a stretch because that's OD. That's a little OD. Without giving up AD, that's OD. You
Yeah.
know, so to basically to get a player that you can get with giving up your young players and some asset draft capital, to me, that's not a player that's going to move the needle enough for them to be the top contender in the West. And so AD and LeBron had a great run. They won a championship. Thank you, AD. We appreciate you. Although you don't have to be a Laker for life. You've never been at anything for life. This ain't your first team or second. So we appreciate your service while it was there. And not to say it's over because of AD. We know your best friend here. He's probably gonna retire in the next few years. We're gonna be set with this. We're gonna be set with this.
If not
And
this year.
no matter what happens with the Lakers, they have Luka Doncic. They're going to be aggressive in free agency. They're going to attract free agents. They're going to attract names the same way Klay Thompson, who is a legend in this league. Let me be clear. And when I say Klay Thompson, I don't mean because now when we look at Dallas roster, how much of an impact at the starting two he's going to get, I don't know. We'll see. But Klay Thompson, the name, wanted to go play with Luka Doncic, and that's the type of shit I'm talking about. So there's going to be a huge impact. We're going to see a trickle down effect. But I'm just also excited for what's to come after this, whether the Mavericks do something else, and where the Jimmy news ends up, if we even trade him. This deadline has been crazy, bro. It's been crazy, and it's brought us to speaking about this one trade for about 20 something minutes here.
Yeah, yeah. And listen, I know we're not gonna. I'm with you. I don't feel bad for millionaires, but as a common everyday individual, I just moved from a state with no income tax to a
Give me a
state
break, brother.
that has income
The
tax.
move was so much
That has
rougher
income
for you,
tax.
bro. And I'm
You
sorry.
know, I see it. I see it in my payroll check. I'm like, hey, it's the extra little coin that I could use for groceries or for some flowers for. So
Yeah,
for him to go from that to the state that has the highest income
yeah.
tax,
No, they fucked his money up for sure, for sure, for sure,
116 mil
for
on
sure.
the table.
Now, let me talk about this. We be talking about. I be talking about how this is a player empowered league, right? Um, this move, what you just mentioned, we ain't never seen somebody like, yo, we ain't finna supermax this guy.
It would
You know what I'm saying?
never.
Like it's a hot potato, right? Like yo, nah, nah, nah. And so you wouldn't think that would happen with a guy like Luka Doncic. We're here now. How does this like? How do other teams? Because there's always influence, right? And I'm just kind of spitballing, but there's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
influence on the moves we see. Um, Sometimes it sets the new standard, and sometimes we see that being like, well, that's y'all. I mean, Mikal Bridges and Rudy Gobert went for 5 first round picks. Um, you could say Luka Doncic only went for 1 first round pick, but at the same time, he went for an All NBA player, as well. And so, um, how does that like? What is there any type of tie in between teams wanting to make sure that they are the how do I say this? Like players have the right to do and say whatever the hell they want these days, right? De'Aaron Fox wanted to get moved. He asked for a trade. Within hours, his Rich Paul management went to the Spurs and said it would be in your best interest to trade him sooner than later. And now last night he becomes a member of the Spurs, he has another year on his contract even after this year. And
Yep.
so with the player empowerment, he's able to do that, you know, and he has great management team that knows the ropes in the league. Do is this does this have anything to do with like ownership or front office wanting to like have the say, like this is our team, we're gonna do things the way we do it, or is there no correlation? I could be just totally sounding
No,
crazy right
I
now.
love that you brought that up because I wanted to, very quickly dive into the Lakers side of this because we have been in a sense talking about the Luca side of it, but not the Lakers
Yeah,
side of it.
yeah.
And I do think that in a sense, this was the Lakers making a power move against all of the hoopla that's been said about LeBron running the franchise and LeBron getting the new head coach and LeBron getting his kid the roster spot and LeBron this, LeBron no, this is the Laker organization, and we do things the way that I think this is the Lakers taking back their organization
Mm,
right now. So yes,
yeah,
I do think
yeah,
that this was a little bit of
yeah,
a hey, bro, we got you your coach, we got
yeah,
you your kid. Now,
yeah. Now we got our future.
now we're gonna yeah. Now
And
we got our future.
that's true. And they're saying, you know, this is now Luca's team. And it should be.
Does hey? I
Not
asked you
yet.
before.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Not
I
yet.
asked you
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
before
Not yet.
before
Not
we
yet.
went. Does LeBron stay?
You did ask. He said he will. He
He's
said he
hey.
will.
I mean,
We don't know him as a liar, but we don't know him as a truther. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Do I think he will? I don't think he should. I don't think he should.
I
At the
think
end of
that
the
if
day, uh-huh.
I think that if he is all about winning another championship before he retires, he has to go. Now, if it's about you know comfort of life and being around family and which I understand. Look, at your age or at anyone's age, I'm 30 and I'm thinking about I'd rather just chill at home and like I say enjoy my rent. You know what I mean? Um, if it's about family and comfort of life, then yeah, stay in LA and retire a
Stay at
Laker.
home and enjoy my rent.
Now, if it's about winning a championship, I think you got to get up out of there. I do.
Hmm,
And,
I don't disagree because I don't see many avenues for this Laker team to go while keeping LeBron and Luca and trying to build a championship roster around that. What they have right now is not a championship roster. And they have pieces that I think would be a great part of a championship roster, but there's still something missing. And I feel like both sides have something missing
mhm.
still. Um man,
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
LeBron. What's unfair is that it's so close to the deadline that like if he was gonna leave now, it would have to be right now, and we can't even
mhm. Where are
see
you
the
gonna go? Yeah.
experiment. But I'm saying like we ain't even get to see what Luca and LeBron looks like. Like we have to see. He owes that to us, LeBron and Luca. We got to see that. So second half of the season, go fight for a playoff spot. Try to win a first round matchup and see where it goes from there. I mean, Luca's cool because Luca is like, you know what? As much as all that shit probably hurts deeply, and once he gets over that, I don't know the man personally, and I don't know if he loves LA or not. But I would imagine that him growing up, he never really imagined himself the starting point guard for the Los Angeles Lakers, let alone um, leading a team with LeBron James on it. And so we let it slip away because we're on social media all day and we're so desensitized to the humanity part of things. And like, did you
Yeah.
forget that you wanted to do this when you was a kid? Like, do you forget that when you had dreams and goals and aspirations, like when you was a child that you wrote down and gave to your mom in fourth grade and told her and sat on her bed? I mean, I don't know everybody's relationship with their parents, but a lot of us had these goals and dreams when we were young adolescent, right? For it, we're 30. The NBA
Yeah.
players ain't 30. It's a young player league. We're the old people. So we got to look at Luca. Luca a gent. You know what I'm saying? Luca done went to high school a couple years ago. Like, so, well, he technically didn't. I mean, the man's been pro since goddamn
Since like
16. But
16. Yeah.
but nah, you know what I'm saying? And so this is such a full circle, like not full circle, but like wow, oh my God moment in his life that and I know we're talking about LeBron's side of things, but I just got to imagine that for Luka Doncic, he has to look at this like, yo, whether LeBron leaves this year or not, or whatever, this is an amazing, this is great. This is great. You know what? I hate that I left, but I'm glad it's here.
No, absolutely. I can imagine the aura of walking into Lakers facilities and seeing the banners and seeing the names, and you know what I
Yeah,
mean. Yeah, it's gonna be
yeah.
a different energy. It's absolutely gonna be a different energy. Before we move over to the Fox to San Antonio and Levine to the Kings, I winked at you earlier about the extra piece that Dallas could acquire. Um, and I don't want to turn into the Jimmy Butler podcast, but
Tuh, tuh.
but he's being very selective and very exclusive as to where he wants to go and under what conditions he'll go. Do you think that they could make a move to Dallas? I think he would be a good piece in Dallas.
I think it would be great to watch Jimmy and Dallas, yo. Like, nah, I mean, do they have the assets? Is where I'm caught up. I don't know that Dallas can realistically make that possible. Jimmy seems hell bent on being a son,
But the Suns don't want to extend him, so I don't know.
and I mean, well, I thought they were. I don't know if there was something that I missed. I thought, to my knowledge, they wanted to. I also saw that Bradley Beal at this point doesn't want to waive his no trade clause, and that he wants to, he wants to go ahead and keep his family and not uproot them. After spending over a decade or whatever the case is in the nation's capital, he wants to, keep some stability. So if Bradley Beal don't want to leave, how can they really get that money, off the books for Jimmy Butler? And so that becomes a problem. Now, if it becomes that situation where, like, all right, Phoenix is out, he told Golden State he doesn't want to sign long term with them, they're out. Now it's, well, Dallas is available, but Dallas don't got a lot of assets. Well, Jimmy wants to leave the Heat, and the price has gone down, so we're just going to take, I don't know if it becomes one of those situations. So I don't want to speculate too much. We might see Jimmy Butler on the Heat roster after February 6th. It's very, very likely that we don't. And I would hope not at the end of the day. I mean, I don't want to deal with this all summer, all next year, however long it takes. Like, get rid of it now and cut ties. But we'll see, bro. It's going to be interesting. I feel like that Luka thing, I think it changed the way people were going to go about certain things. And now they're like, all right, hold on. Like, we see the Warriors. Sham said they called every all-star and saw what the availability was. Like, yo, Paul George, what's up? Or not Paul George, but they calling the Sixers. They calling them, like trying to figure out, yo, calling LeBron. Can we get you, what I'm saying, over here? And so I think a lot of shit is going on right now. And I don't want to speculate too much more. We'll obviously talk about Fox going because the trade is done, but I don't know where the next piece is or who, is the next domino to fall. So I heard the Suns are taking calls for Kevin Durant. If that's true, shit, he's always been a target for Miami.
Yeah,
Can I be
absolutely.
delusional one more time? Shit.
All right, like I was just saying, Zach Levine is a Sacramento King. De'Aaron Fox going back home to Texas to play with the Spurs. June, is this the piece? And I don't want to. Before I even ask the question, let me backtrack. Is there a world in the NBA that we could see Wembanyama playing in an NBA final, June?
Is there a world where we can see that?
Yes.
Yeah, soon.
Is De'Aaron Fox a key piece to possibly seeing Wembanyama in an NBA final?
I think he can be. I think he can be. Will he be? Probably not. Probably not. I think that this is a move for the Spurs that's saying, "Oh shit, Wemby. We knew he was gonna be great, but the man just been playing better than we even thought he could." And there was a tweet about his highlight tape versus the Bucks. I mean, he put out a minute and a half worth of highlights that looked like somebody's career season. You know what I'm saying? And it was one game. So what he's been able to do has been phenomenal. Shout out to him getting his first All-Star this year. And I think that the process is just it's just going ahead of schedule. And so they're like, you know what? We need something. We need something. He's available. We need a point guard. He's a very good point guard, a great point guard. He's a scorer. He wants to be here. Yeah, I think that can help us right now. And so, did they give up anything crazy? No. This is a win for the Spurs. It's a plus for their future because maybe they can build the chemistry now and add another guy, and that becomes the piece that puts them over the top. And maybe Fox is the filler, but Fox is gonna be the guy. Let me say this: Fox is gonna be the guy for Wembyama that is going to get him to the playoffs, and he's going to put him in tough situations. That's going to build the character and the toughness and the experience for Wembyama to play in the playoffs. You know, whether they win or lose series, they're gonna get there and they're gonna have the experience. Um, and I think that's so beneficial to his career because he's only in his second year right now. And you know, whether he loses in the play-in or in the playoffs or doesn't make the playoffs a couple more years or loses in the first round, first few years, that's all experience. But that process is being sped up by one, not only his development that he has been going at a phenomenal rate, but the Spurs uh wokeness to be like, you know what, we do need to put another all-star type of talent, great type of talent alongside him right now. We can't wait till, you know, he's ready. He's ready. So is he the piece to take him to the finals and, you know, win? Not necessarily, but I think he's going to be very, very crucial for what Wembanyama's career is going to be.
Zach Levine to a smaller market in Sacramento. I've always appreciated his play when he does decide to show out. I think this will be a good move for him to be in a smaller market. Not as many eyes on him. You know, we're not up watching Kings games at 11 p.m. on the East Coast. How do you feel about Levine to the Kings?
uh, it's boring. It's
Yeah,
boring.
exactly.
It's like, I mean, look, Zach Levine's been playing really good too this year, like shooting the ball from like three from like 45%. Like he's a hooper. He's always been a pure hooper. But the Kings just are a weird team. Like 2022, 2023, they built this excitement for me that led me into the 2023-24 season. Like, yo, this might be the year because they had that game 7 versus Steph, you know, lost. It was like, I bet they're coming back next year. Last year happened, and last year was good, but it was underwhelming. You know, they definitely didn't play up to what I thought they were going to get. And then this year, we're here, not even halfway through the season, they fired their coach, and their arguably best player, second best player, asked for a trade after you go and sign DeMar DeRozan this offseason to bolster that roster. So it's like it's a lot of weird shit going on over there, moving pieces. Herder might be up for trade, and or was Herder in the trade?
I gotta
I don't know
verify
if
that.
Herder was in the trade. I think Herder went to the Bulls actually, if I'm not mistaken. I think him and the Bulls got Herder and you can
Zach
fact check.
Collins, Trey
Zach
Jones,
Collins, the
Kevin
big, yeah,
Herter,
yeah,
their own 2025 first
yeah.
round pick from the
They got it
Spurs.
back. Yeah. So, you know, I don't know if I'm shout out to Jacob in the chat. He said, I forgot Levine even existed. Like when yeah, like what does he even play? Like he could be healthy and it's like you don't even realize it. And so shout out to him. He's a great player. But again, to me, it's just a like boring move because the Kings aren't really doing shit. They're in no man's land. And Zach Levine and DeMar DeRozan are the two players for me that like in free agency, it's like, am I excited to sign them? No. Are they good players? Absolutely. But like,
Hey, the funny part was that remember I told you that you like shout out to Jacob saying that he forgot Zach Levine even existed. Yo, I thought PJ Tucker retired, bro.
that's funny.
I really did. I tell you, I saw him on my flight on New Year's Eve, and that's the same night the Spurs spanked the Clippers. And I forgot. I thought he retired. I was he wasn't anywhere close. All right, granted, I was in Houston, so I guess he was in the state of Texas, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he
He's
wasn't in.
I think he's from Houston.
Um,
PJ Tucker's from Houston, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
he wasn't playing that night. Apparently, he wasn't even in the
Well,
facilities,
he
and now he just got
but
traded.
he yeah, he's gonna be going to motherfucking Utah, and they probably gonna ask for a buyout. If I know PJ Tucker like I know PJ Tucker, shit me, he gonna get that buyout. He gonna go chill. He might go to a contender. He might not. And I mean, I could see him definitely going to a contender. PJ Tucker's still in shape. Do I think he's like gonna contribute? It just be, you know who he is. So it's like,
He's a
but
leader
I
in the
definitely
locker
don't
room, though.
see. I do not see him staying in Utah more than another
It's a couple
3 weeks.
months.
Nah, 3 weeks. So,
Shout out to Ray in the chat.
but
Obviously,
real quick, shout out to Clippers for getting Drew Eubanks in exchange for PJ Tucker. That's a good trade for them right there. That's a good
uh,
trade.
and Ray saying King's move not going to work. Sabonis, Demar, and Levine and Monk is interesting. Hey man, before we get over to some NFL news, as I was saying, we would get over to the northeast side of the state of Ohio. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and give the pod a play for the night. It's the only play that I'm playing this evening. I know I'm 0-2 since I started giving y'all these things. We have
Hey, EP, we owe it to this season, but guess what? Every day is a new opportunity, man, to bounce back and be better and also learn new things. And so, with all the information you've learned every day since you've taken the L, you back with this.
I'm back with this. Hey, the only way we can go is up if we at the bottom right now. And
Come
the
on.
and on the late night tip, we got the Phoenix Suns traveling to Portland. Kevin Durant and company going on to take on DeAndre Ayton. Phoenix is a 4.5 point favorite on the road. Lay the 4.5 with Phoenix. I caught it at 5 on the local on the private joint. Shout out to the private ones that we use. But you can find it at 4.5 on most places. I think that this is going to be a Suns 10, 12 point win. So definitely lay those 4.5 points with the Phoenix Suns. And hey, at this point, like we were just saying, if Luka can get traded, anyone can get traded. So I'm sure it's KD's like, hey, y'all chill out, take the phone up. Hey, I could see a KD masterclass this evening. But hey, this is not financial advice. Gamble at your own risk. Gamble responsibly, and don't get caught up in no federal investigations. Please, all right,
Yeah.
please.
Real quick, speaking of that, did you hear about the MLB umpire who was since fired and relieved from his duties today? Did you hear about that?
Schmuck, because he
What'd you say?
shares.
He's gonna fuck up what? What's he's gonna mess up
He's
what?
ruining casual Friday out here. In the office when you used to work, semi
Come on,
corporate America. You used to be
come
able
on.
Fridays, it might have the company logo, but it was just a T-shirt, maybe a nice little polo. You got to wear jeans on Friday, maybe some nice, Olympic sevens. You know what I'm saying? Sixes, sorry,
You can
Olympic
get off.
sixes. You
You
know
can
what I'm
get off.
saying?
You can get off some shit.
You
Some
can get the fit
fun.
on Fridays. He's ruining it.
So
He's ruining it.
we got from Jesse Rogers, ESPN. Shout out to Jesse Rogers. Covers the MLB, including the White Sox and the Cubs for ESPN.com. Breaking per MLB at 4:05 today. Umpire Pat Hoberg has been fired for sharing betting accounts with a friend who bet on baseball. Though there is no evidence that Hoberg himself bet on games or manipulated any that he worked on, he also deleted messages central to MLB's investigation. Ladies, ladies and gentlemen, we
We
got him.
got him. We got him.
Yeah.
We got him. Yeah, man, you're a schmuck. Even if there's one, you delete the messages, and in my extensive experience of being in relationships, deleting any types of messages, whether you're guilty or not guilty, deleting any types of messages is not a good look. And at the end of the day, man, you're an umpire. You're in control of a lot during, the couple hours that there is a game on as we work on getting June back. And you fucking up the integrity. Now we got to question your integrity. And we really just absolutely not fucking with that. Um, Again, like I'm saying, y'all gamble responsibly. And if you are a part of any sports organization, or if you're a ref, or if you're an umpire, or if you're any of all of the above, you know what I mean, just don't do it. Just don't do it. We don't want to have to question your integrity, because although we can't prove that this man bet on, and as we get June's back, welcome back. We can't prove that he bet on anything, or that he manipulated anything. We got to question it. And now you fucking everything up. And as much as baseball took my money last season, bro, I gotta believe you were a part of it at this point. All right, man. God damn it, Donovan. Hey, Tim Donovan walked, or Donahue walked, so this motherfucker could fail.
So he
fall,
could shit.
could fall flat on his face.
Shit.
You heard?
This is what happens when you got an old man and and some new technology. That's it. That's it. This is the equivalent to the PEDs being taken, and it's like, well, I didn't know what I took. Like,
Yeah.
nah,
Ray in
nah,
the
nah, nah,
chat.
nah.
Ray in the chat saying Robo umps, please now. Ray, I don't want to let one bad apple ruin the tree. I'm not
I'll tell
sure
you this, EP.
how I feel about
It ain't one
Robo
bad.
umps.
It's a few of them apples out there. And now,
Listen,
and they're not all betting apples. A lot of them are bad ump apples.
oh, for a shit show. Hey, listen, and I'm not sure how I'm not sure how I feel about robo umps. I also, to be plays devil's advocate, I wasn't sure how I felt about the pitch clock either, and I love the pitch clock. So I
Yeah.
mean, we'll see. With neither here nor
Let
there.
me ask y'all this. If anybody in the chat want to give me their opinion on this, I'm gonna just throw a silly question out there. You know, we've seen the pitchers before they come off, they got to show the umpire their glove and their hand to make sure it ain't no sticky stuff, right? They're not manipulating the game or the ball in any way. We seen metal detectors at the schools, right? Shit real. What if athletes had to take a poly test
Oh.
before their game? And they're just asked the basic 5 questions
Well,
based on
they gotta ask the baseline questions first, to
yeah, you gotta get that shit going.
yeah.
You gotta see the tendencies, but yeah, like making sure whether this is just umps, not the players, or I don't know if you start with the umps or whatever, but like or the refs. Let's start this Sunday with the Super Bowl. We could start there. You this will be your first Super Bowl, is that correct? No. Awesome. All right. All right. This will be your first Super Bowl refereeing a Chiefs Super Bowl, correct? No, this is not. Okay, great, great. Um will you in any shape, way, or form have any implication on how this game turns out
Yeah,
based
were
on
you
your personal
influenced?
based on your personal beliefs or influences? No. All right.
are
We
you
appreciate it. That's
are you
it.
here? Are you here on your own merit?
Right. All right. This is not a question, but blink twice. if you
if
know what
your
I'm saying?
if your kneecaps were threatened earlier today.
Right. And so maybe I don't know. We're gonna have to get the God honest truth out of these guys one way or another because as a sports fan and a passionate viewer, I can't. This breaks my heart. Seeing people getting caught up in sports betting scandals, referees, like players, bro. You know what? It's always gonna be that one guy, bro. Fucking scumbag. This guy over here, fucking idiot, dumbass, whatever. But the referee, bro, like you went to school, like you went to the little training, you did everything. Your mom was happy when you sent her the picture of your certificate. Like, this what you doing it for, bro? Because you ain't
Come
had to be
on,
the ref.
man.
You could have just tried to come up for real, or you could have just knew a ref who knew a ref. You feel me? There's other
Yeah.
ways if that's your business. This the underworld over here. You know what I'm saying? You trying to do the underworld in the spotlight.
Come
And
on, man.
sometimes they say hiding in plain sight is the best place to hide, but stop, man. Have some integrity, man. You ruining sports, bro.
Integrity is the name of the game and name of the game. You brought up the Super Bowl and shout out to football. That's where we're going to take it. Miles Garrett has officially asked to be
Whew.
traded from the Cleveland Browns. In my opinion, I told you earlier, this is the best case scenario for the Cleveland Browns
Mm-hmm.
in terms of a blow up and a rebuild. Everything that's happened to you has stemmed off of the Deshaun Watson contract that you can't seem to get out of. You try to shorten it, but you can't seem to get out of. And I feel like this is just fruit. Everything that's happened since the Deshaun Watson contract is fruit from the poisonous tree at that point. And Miles Garrett has officially said, I want out. I'm not here for statistical accolades. I'm not here for a Hall of Fame. I'm here to win a Super Bowl, and I want to go to a contender. June, your
You see,
thoughts?
you see what one bad apple can do? That motherfucking Deshaun Watson is a bad shit. Um, this is good news for NFL fans because we get to see, one of the best players in the game right now, if not the best player in the game on the defensive side of the ball, at least. Hopefully play for meaningful games. Like
Mm-hmm.
who wouldn't want to see Miles Garrett, going after Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl or trying to help Patrick Mahomes win the Super Bowl, right? Like
Hey.
it's like for me, I think it's totally fair for Miles Garrett to feel how he feels and want to go request a trade and let them figure it out, right? We are at a point where he has done the walk the walk. He has got the accolades. He's done what he's had to do. He's got the numbers. Now he needs to go win. And he's never been able to put his own team by himself in a position to win. And he's done a hell of a job at trying what he can control. So coming off of 14 sacks, him understanding that, he only got a few more years of this. And guess what? With his body and the way he keeps in shape, he probably got another 6 years. You know what I'm saying? And that's just because he's that type of athlete. But all realistically, football, you never know with this game. And so whether he has 3 to 6 years within that time frame, he wants to do best for him and put himself in a position to succeed. So I want to know how much it's going to be worth Miles Garrett getting that. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be a big pick. They saying Ray says Miles Garrett to the Ravens. I don't know. I don't know where Miles Garrett is going to go. I haven't thought too much
Mm.
about where I want him to go or where I think he's going to go. I'm curious to know what his price is going to be.
Yeah.
But my thing is, like you said, bro, I think this is just so good for the Browns. Like, you guys have the opportunity this year to draft your franchise quarterback. You also can add draft capital with. They said, for context, Khalil Mack was traded, top of his game, from the Raiders to the Chargers for two, I think it was, first round picks and a
Mm-hmm.
third and a sixth. So, like, you know, we can gauge off that and say, if the Browns can get two first round picks, I would ask for three. But if you can get two first round picks for Miles Garrett, um, and more, shit, like, you have your franchise quarterback. You can also draft his weapons. You can go defense. You can go skill players. You can go trenches. Like, you're putting yourself in a good position right there. You also have other players on that team that you can trade for more draft capital. Like, if you were going to go the rebuild route for real, and get rid of Denzel Ward, that's all
Yeah.
pro corner over there. And I'm sure he's worth some stuff. And as much as you want him and you love him, Cleveland ain't winning. Cleveland ain't winning games. So he might be the next guy to ask out. He might not. But I think this is a good situation, as good as a situation could be for a team in their, fucking worst case scenario. They're literally in their worst case scenario, because when they traded for Deshaun Watson and signed him, they said he cannot get hurt and he cannot do anything to fuck this up. And he has since
Did
done
both.
something to fuck it up and gotten hurt multiple times. So
Oh my god. Hey man, and like I said, they're actively trying to get out of that contract. The whole TikTok video thing that they were like, hey, this
that
could be
shit
your
harder than Bradley Beal contract to get out of it.
that's
He
not
got a no
happening.
trade clause.
You got like you were saying. No, I think this is best case scenario for the city of Cleveland. You guys should be ecstatic. If I'm the front office for the Browns, I'm putting my, like you're saying, we want 2, 3 first rounders. You know what I'm saying? Possibly second or third rounder on top of that, and going to everybody that you think will take them and say, hey, this is what we want, and can you want them or not? Like, you
Yeah,
do you want them or not? Because
yeah,
I would be trying to get this deal done if I was the Browns front office yesterday. Oh, you want out, bro? All right.
yeah.
At this point,
I
like, you
mean,
asked for
but you
it,
also got
get
to
out.
field the offers. You got to do what's best. You got to give diligence, and they owe that to themselves. So we're gonna we as much as we don't want those who don't want to be here, we're going to make sure, again, like Pat Riley,
It's
that
in our
we're
best
doing the
interest.
best
Yeah.
for the organization. And so, not to mention the heat or anything, but
Hey, before we get into other news, another NFL contract was reported today. Courtney Cronin, Chicago ESPN, reported Ben Johnson's official contract came out for Chicago. 65 over 5, $13 million, $13 million a year. Is that too much? He becomes the seventh highest head coach. Too much, June?
I don't I sometimes I don't put a price tag on what I believe is worth everything. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because this is everything for them right now. This is the Bears. To me, this is the Bears' last chance with Caleb Williams. They hired a coach They then drafted the quarterback. That can work a lot of times, and a lot of times it doesn't. It didn't. So now they're at option two: new coaching staff, new
Mm-hmm.
offense, new installation, re uh, continue development, continue building confidence with the quarterback, and this relationship's got to work. This is the one. And so, if Ben Johnson's a failure in Chicago, I don't know how far Caleb Williams goes. I don't, unless he asks out, unless the QB Messiah himself steps into that next position. But history tells me that's not probably gonna happen. And I think that if 13 million was the number to get Ben Johnson, whatever the case, you guys felt that was necessary to do that, do what you guys need to do to make sure that this city has a franchise quarterback and is ready to win for this city, because that's what we've been waiting for. So yeah, if you need $13 million to do that, and you're gonna do that, please do that. I also did hear that Calvin Johnson. Am I tripping, or did I hear that? You know what? I don't even want to. I don't even want to do all that. I'll confirm what I gotta confirm when I confirm it.
Hey, something else I just remembered. Russell Wilson was asked about, the possibility of joining his old head coach in Las Vegas. I almost said Oakland, Las Vegas, and he said, "Hey, he's gonna do great. He's a great coach, but I'm focused on the Steelers. Should the Steelers still be focused on Russell Wilson at this point, June?"
Um, I think Russell Wilson gave them their best chance to win last year. I'll say that. So, if not, and they're going the Justin Fields route, better be sure about it. You know what I'm saying? And not to say that you're wrong if you don't sign Russell Wilson, because I mean, we saw where that really got them, right? It got them to the playoffs, but it didn't get them far. And
Yeah,
when they played good teams in that 3 game stretch in the end of the season, we saw what it really was. And we saw as well that they didn't play the AFC North until after that halfway point in the season. So they started off that season nice and hot. Everything was good, and then it kind of just wheels fell off.
yeah, shit was all good just a week ago.
Yeah, and so you know what? If they don't resign Russell Wilson, I don't know what they're gonna do. And guess what? If they re-sign Justin Fields, I don't know if that's gonna be a playoff team in that
Mm,
division. Um,
mm,
I I think as with the roster as constructed as it is, Russell Wilson gives them the best chance to win. And I just don't think Justin Fields is that team. That team ain't a Justin Fields. Like, that team ain't built for Justin Fields, in my
yeah,
opinion. And I thought that with coaching, with the defense, with the running back, or the want to run the ball, that he would find success. But clearly they had to go with the backup, right? I mean, obviously Russell Wilson was going to be the starter in the beginning of the season, but he was dealing with the injury, and so once he got healthy, he became the starter. But the plug had to be pulled. Justin Fields didn't necessarily give Tomlin a huge reason to plug him, because we can't say Tomlin had no reason to unplug Justin Fields, because if he felt like we're going to win every single game going forward, he wouldn't have unplugged. But
exactly.
he did feel some sort of, this isn't as good as we think it should be or we want it to be, so we have to try and see what we got with this. You know what I'm saying? And rightfully so. But I don't know, man. Steelers gonna have to answer a lot of questions at quarterback, and that's just not my problem.
Hey, I think if you do resign him, you gotta ask him to take a large pay cut because we need to allocate some funds elsewhere. Don't go signing Russell Wilson for 40 million, $35 million. Please do not do that because because that is also not it. You got a better shot at signing Kirk Cousins at this point. Now, as we cross over this hour 3 mark, in other news, greatest rivalry in sports wasn't much of a game this weekend, man. By the time I got to turn it on, I didn't even get a chance to put on my new Cooper Flag jersey on because Duke put belt to ass. Now the scoreboard says that Carolina lost by 17 points. Now they outscored Duke the second half 45-40. So you could imagine that the 47-25 score after the first half, I didn't even want to watch the second half. I was like,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
isn't this isn't fun. Listen, obviously I mentioned Cooper Flag. 21 points. I think 12 rebounds, 8 rebounds. Sorry, 21 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Now, this silent killer, Con Canoopel, bro. I like this guy.
Yeah,
I'm
Conrad's got something.
Con Canoopel, because you say it just like
Knuckle,
that.
Knuckle. Is
Canoopel,
it
Canepo.
Knuckle? Whatever the hell you got going on. No disrespect, my boy Conrad.
I, I I I don't see him, going into the draft this year. So I'm excited to
Mhm.
see what happens in his sophomore year. Because the kid can hoop. That
Yeah,
kid, it's Cooper's team,
yeah.
but this Conrad kid
Nah,
can hoop.
he's special. He's a special talent for sure.
And he did outscore Flag in that game, 1 point, but 22 points, um, 22 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, kids can hoop. And Duke is undefeated in ACC conference play, number 2 team in the country, 19-2 overall. Hey man, we're like what 6-7 weeks away from March Madness,
Oh yeah.
and oh yeah, you heard. Drew, you got anything else you want to get into before we get out of here?
Yeah, bro. I want to big shout out, dog. Shout out to Sean Abayev, McDonald's All American. You know
Big
what I'm saying?
facts.
What a
Big
big
facts.
feat. This is a Calvary Christian Academy alumni. He is
Lauderdale.
yeah, he's out of Broward and he is committed to the University of Cincinnati. So shout out to Sean, shout out to Coach AJ and everybody, getting a McDonald's All American. That's something that every little kid looks up to. You know what I'm saying? A basketball player, if you a hooper and you was a jit one day, you was looking at that All American game like, damn, yo, All American, All American. I want to be All American. If you play high school ball, you want to be All American. So um, this is just a credit to the work that he's put in over the years, and so just wanted to shout him out.
Big facts. Big facts. He was in the chat earlier, so shout out to AJ as well.
Shout out my boy.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, as we cross over this hour 7 mark, this has been your Monday evening All Things Sports Super Bowl week. We ain't talking no Super Bowl because we still got Thursday before the game, you heard? And if you tapped in on the live in the chat, thank you so much. If you're tapping in after the fact, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to come hang out, show some love, and tune into the Real in Sports. We will see you all on Thursday.